guys, it is Erin Wheelock here, your favorite New York City real estate broker. We at the Wheelock team help people to relocate to New York City. We're with Keller Williams, and I can't wait to talk to you today about condos versus co-ops. Okay, let's start out with the technical things. What are you buying? When you're buying a co-op, you are buying shares in a corporation. Now, every building allocates their shares differently. So it doesn't mean if a one-bedroom building is 50 shares, in the next building it has to be 50 shares as well. It could be 450 shares, because every building allocates those shares differently. And that's why when you buy, you get a stock in the corporation and a lease, because you're leasing back the space to use as your home. In a condo, what are you buying? You are buying real property, and you're getting a percentage of common interests. So it's your home, but you're also getting that percentage of the common space that is allocated to you and your home. That's why when you buy, you're actually going to be getting title for that. You're going to get a deed as well. Financing. So financing is different. When you are purchasing a co-op, you're going to have a minimum of 20% down. Now, a lot of buildings are 25%, and there's some co-ops out there that don't allow you to finance at all. Because it's a corporation, that co-op board makes the rules, and the minimum is going to be 20%, which is the most common. Now, if you're looking at a condo, financing starts at 10%. Unfortunately, we're not really seeing first-time home buyer, FHA loans with 3% down or VA loans going through. So in a condo, you're going to be paying the lease down, which is going to be 10% typically. And then a co-op is going to start at 20% down. Another thing to know about financing in a condo versus a co-op is your closing costs. So when you purchase in a co-op, and Manhattan is still about 75% co-ops, you don't have to pay the mortgage recording tax. If you purchase a condo, you do have to pay the mortgage recording tax, which is going to be approximately 2%. It just depends on the price point that you're buying in. And that's going to be a tax on the mortgage that you are taking. So that's an added cost, which can actually jump your closing costs if you're purchasing a condo versus purchasing a co-op. Rules. Well, they both have rules, but there is going to be a big difference. So condos and co-ops, they both have boards. Now the co-op, their board rules tend to be a bit more strict than the condo rules. Not always, but they tend to be. So in condos, you can always rent it out. There will be rules in terms of how long you can rent it out. Most of them will have a 6-month minimum. And even more will probably have a year minimum. After Airbnb came through, we had a lot of things happen in the city, and so they've kind of kiboshed a lot of the shorter term rules out. Nothing will allow you to rent for less than 30 days because that is a standard law. Then you get into hoteling, and then there's other taxes and other zoning and whatnot, and we won't get into that in this episode. But condos, they're going to be a little bit less strict. You may end up having a rule for non-compete if you're purchasing new construction. That's something else as well. But again, their main rule that people look at is going to be how often and how long can you sublet, which again, you might find some that are 3 months. I think there's a few buildings that do 3 months. A lot of them are 6 months, and the majority are going to be 12-month leases. Co-ops, their board tends to, again, put through a little bit more of strict rules. So what does that mean? So some of them, and I would say the most popular is going to be for you to be able to rent out for 3 out of every 5 years, which means you probably have to live there for a minimum of 2. Then you can rent it out for 3 years. Then you have to go move back in for a few years. Then you can rent it out for 3 years again. So it's 3 years out of every 5 years. Some of them are 2 out of every 5. Some of them you can rent for forever after 2 years. Some you can rent forever starting with day 1. Not very common, but a few of those do exist. And some of them just don't allow you to rent at all. Now, most of your boards are going to be flexible in terms of, let's say out of the blue, you just got relocated for work and you don't have time to sell, but you need to get someone in there right away. Sometimes you can write a letter to the building and they'll work with you on that. But the main reason for this rule, I know it's very scary for people, but the main reason for this rule is because they don't want a transient building. They want a building that is full of homeowners that are gonna love the property, love the building the same way that they do, not figuring out who the neighbor is over here and who the neighbor is over there and who the neighbor is across the hall every year, right? They want it to be good homeowners that are there, that care about the building and want to be there. The approval process is different in condos and co-ops. So in condos, in condo resales, I should say, after you complete the board package, that board package is going to go to management. Management's going to give it the stamp of approval. It's going to go to the board. Now the board only has the first right of refusal, which means they're going to say, you know what, nope, you can't sell it at this price. We're going to buy it at this price. I saw it once in a property where someone was kind of doing a fire sale and they had some pretty smart people on the board, and the board realized they could just buy it and then sell it for more money and put that extra money in the reserves. So they did that. Not something that happens often. On the flip side, you have a co-op approval process. It is different. Remember, a co-op is a corporation. So they have an approval like a corporation, which means they have an interview process. So you are going to have us do your fabulous board package. That's going to go into management. Management's going to give it a stamp of approval. That board package is going to go to the board. Then the board is going to review it. And instead of just giving a waiver of approval, what they're going to do is invite the buyer for an interview. So it's something that we always get our buyers prepare for when you're working with the co-op. We've even sometimes had co-ops have the owners bring in their dogs. It's cute, but each one works a little bit differently. They're really just trying to get to know you. And then after that, they are going to say, yes, this homeowner can move in. Now, there are so many stories out there. This is New York City about a lot of people being turned down for this reason, that reason, or no reason at all, because technically they don't have to give a reason. Why? Because it's a corporation. I don't make the rules. But one thing I will say is I've been in business for over 10 years, and knock on wood, wherever I can find it, had one board turned on, and it was a blessing in disguise for the homeowner. Definitely a meant to be thing, somebody in their corner for that deal not to go through. Monthly payments. So when you are especially looking online, you're going to see monthly payments in two different forms. In a condo, you're going to see common charges, and separately you're going to see taxes, right? Common charges and taxes. Versus a co-op, I know many times we work with buyers, they're like, I don't want to be in a co-op, their monthly fees are so much higher. Well, it looks higher because it's, and it can be, but it looks higher because it's just one number. So in a co-op, you're just going to be paying maintenance, and there's a percentage of that maintenance that's going to be taxes. So you're still going to be able to deduct the taxes, but when you're looking online, you're just going to see maintenance for the co-ops, and you're going to see common charges and taxes for the condos. Either way, when you are looking to purchase in New York City, don't worry, we have got your back. We will walk you through the entire process from consultation to close to make sure that you are making the best decision for you. We don't want you to have to spend extra money to get that condo if co-ops would be great. And also, we don't want you in a co-op if their house rules are not going to match what your future goals are. So make sure that you reach out to us. And if you want any more information, you might want to check out our video on 5 things you should know before buying in New York City. And we look forward to hearing from you soon.